This program airs statewide on California Public Television and is a California's Gold classic. I'm Huell Howser, and here we are right in the middle of a windstorm. These are gale force winds, but that's okay. We're here because we want to be here. This is historic California wind, and it is one of 3 windy places we're going to be visiting on this particular adventure. If you're curious where we're going to go and what kind of wind we're going to end up getting into, well, hang on and come on along with us as we continue our windy search together for California's gold. Well, here we are. We're back in the same windstorm, and I'm standing here with
Kelly Court, manager at Warner Brothers Studios Special Effects Department, Hill.
Right, and you know, we're having a lot of fun in this wind, but could we just cut the wind off for a minute?
Sure, Hill. Save the wind.
All right, so here we are. It's a lot better now, a lot quieter. We're standing in front of, what is the technical name for this machine?
This is called a Ritter, Huell.
Which is known by all the people inside the industry. But for those of us who have never seen one of these before, explain to us why something like this is so historic and has played such an important role in movies here in California.
Well, Huell, this machine here is electric powered. It runs on DC power, and it's got a big set of rheostats down there so we can adjust the speed. It pans and it tilts. This started off a long time ago in the movie industry, way back in the silent film era, and they had these machines. They took these motors off of streetcars.
Really?
Yeah. So they mounted them on these types of trailers and then put them out on the set, and then blew wind. We like these machines because they're a lot quieter than the gas-powered machines.
Can we turn this one back on just a little bit? Now, I've seen, you know, we've got this wonderful clip of Buster Keaton doing his famous tilting in and out of the wind back in the silent movie days. Would this have been the kind of machine that they would have used on those early movie sets?
More than likely, Huell.
Something just as basic as a machine, it's just a big electric fan.
Well, most of our stuff was engineered and designed, and it's really hard to come up with new ideas. And this is something really simple, practical, and it works.
Okay, now it's just barely, what would this be called? A gentle spring wind?
A breeze. This is where you ruffle the nice chiffon dress and to get the hair going in the wind a little bit, Hill.
Could we up it just a little bit here?
Yeah, now Jimmy's going to bring it up for us.
Now we're going up to what? Kind of a...
Well, it's getting a little breezier, and it's like, well, we're starting to have a wind out here. Maybe we're down by the beach now and we're walking along. They would have this and do a walk and talk, and they pull this along on a western dolly, and the camera would be dollying along when they'd be walking up the beach.
So this would be right behind the camera.
It would be off to the side. So you have your camera lens like this, and the wind machine over here dollying along with you walking down the beach.
And then let's do it up to more like a, what would this be?
So a heavy breeze. It's hard to put a name on them. We have a little joke. This is probably like a 4.5.
Well, and it sounds kind of like a wind would sound.
It really does. It's not very offensive. The noise level isn't offensive. When we fire up the gas plant, you'll see the difference.
All right, that's the other one we want to visit. Your name, sir?
Jim Shorey.
And you're with the...
I'm with the Warner Brothers Electrical Department.
You're with the wind department here at Warner Brothers.
Today I am, yes,
you
sir.
You all don't call it the wind department, though, do you?
No, we don't. It's essentially special effects, and any of this stuff would fall under special effects. We operate it, we maintain them. We do everything except decide where they're going to blow.
Yeah, well,
that's
is
pretty
that the
much-
director's decision? or-
Essentially, yes. Essentially, the director decides what his final cut's going to be, where he wants it, and what he wants it to do.
Now, this is kind of a soft wind machine. It doesn't make a lot of noise.
It's specifically designed. The blade is made by a gentleman named Art Fritzen. He's 92 years old. He makes these things by hand.
Really? These wooden blades?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And
Still to this day.
this is the big one here. This is the
That's-
one you wanted to show us.
Yeah, that's a lot bigger. We have them bigger than that.
Well, what would you need a bigger wind machine for?
Well, like in Twister, they were using jet aircraft engines. They had a 707 and a 727 mounted on a 27-foot trailer, and they drug it along.
We have some clips from Twister. That probably is the wind movie of all time, isn't it?
Yeah, it ranks right up there, Huell. I mean, if you look back in some of the older movies and some of the war movies and stuff, there's quite a bit of wind. Stuff that they're doing on Twister has been done before. I mean, it's the digital stuff that you see on the film
Yeah.
that's new.
But basically, we're still talking about a big fan.
Yeah, this
going.
is a big. We call this a wind machine. It's a gas plant.
Can you turn that thing on for us?
You betcha.
Now this one makes some noise. I don't know whether I want to be standing in front of it or not. Why would you choose to use this one instead of this one?
For the simple fact that it'll give you a lot more volume of air and create a much bigger windstorm. You look at it, this thing can literally blow us away. Let's see, it just rains.
That'll really knock you down.
That'll blow you right out in the lake, Huell.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How much wind can you, what's the miles per hour on that thing?
I would say this probably gets up to like 70, 80 miles an hour.
You're kidding.
No, it'll carry a long ways. It'll blow way those trees and stuff way down the lake there.
So that's one of the things you have to do. You have to be able to blow leaves and make it look like a windstorm for a great distance.
Right. Like the little sequence you opened your show up with, we were just centralizing on that one little area over there. But in a big feature film, they're going to want to see all the background, way back as far as you can see. We may have the 4 or 5 of these lined up and along the shot. There's a machine that has a Continental aircraft engine that is low down like this, and it tilts up on a hydraulic cylinder, and it blows like 140 miles an hour. They use it for testing window glass and stuff for buildings.
And you would use that in a movie, making a movie?
Sure. Yeah, did you ever, Places in the Heart, we used that to create the big dust storm. I did the special effects on that movie.
Great. Now let's go to something a little smaller.
Okay, let me shut
This
down.
is just kind of your, this is one of your classic studio wind machines, isn't it?
Generally, it's done for real enclosed stuff. You just want the wafting the hair, maybe a drape moving in the background. And you don't get the volume, but you don't get the noise. You don't get a lot of other inconveniences you get with a larger machine.
What's the name of this one?
This is commonly called the E-fan.
Okay, the E-fan. Now, I've even heard of that. That's
Right.
a real staple in the movie industry,
That
isn't
certainly is.
it? Can you turn that one on? After being in front of this one, this is going to be nothing. But this is, yeah, let's blow a little bit on Louis over there.
Well, we won't be able to see it, but maybe if Jim stepped out there for right in between us.
Yeah, see?
So we use it for stuff like this, for wafting someone's hair, and maybe they're doing a poor man's process, and there's a car sitting there against a green screen, and they're going to lay the film in after. We would come over with the E-fans next to the car and then waft the actor's hair, so like if they had the window open, so it looked real.
So you're getting real technical here. You're using a lot of this inside jargon that most of us don't understand, but I think we all understand wind, and I think from now on when I see a movie, I'll be paying more attention to the wind, because that's not something that naturally happens in a movie, is it?
No, it isn't.
I mean, it's
It
all
never happens.
manufactured.
It only happens when you don't want any wind.
I
Then you're
got you.
guaranteed to have wind. Snow or rain. It all works that way. Murphy's Law.
Well, you can make wind, but you can't make wind go away.
No, sir. And we can't blow against the wind either.
I got you. Well, thank you very much. This
pleasure.
has been our first stop on our,
Thank you.
we're making 2 more stops in search of historic California wind, but there can't be any more wind that would be more historic and more California than good old Warner Brothers Hollywood, California
Hollywood wind.
wind. Can we
There you
crank
go.
this one up one more time, and let's kind of have a windy goodbye? Come on, and let's all stand out here together, because I want to subject you to this as well. Watch this thing crank up. This is amazing. All the way up, Cal. Our adventure continues inside a building on the campus of the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, Caltech. Starting back in 1930, this place was a beehive of activity, lots of engineers doing lots of technical testing. Now you see, we came to this place because we had heard it was full of wind, and we weren't disappointed.
Mr. Howser, I'd like to welcome you to the GALCIT Ten-Foot Wind Tunnel. And GALCIT is an acronym for Graduate Aeronautical Laboratories, California Institute of Technology. Now, this particular facility was put together by Theodore von Karman, who is known as the father of aerodynamics.
Can we get inside here?
Absolutely.
Because I have this uncontrollable urge to climb inside the wind tunnel. And this, I don't know whether you can hear the...
It's quite an echo chamber.
Boy! Now, is this all wood?
There are wood panels in this section, and most of the upper leg is wood. 37 feet of it is wood. The rest of it is concrete. Now, if you look at the upper leg, it's 100 feet long overall. So it takes up quite a bit of real estate,
Can
basically.
we get down here?
Certainly. Just be careful. And there's a place you can step onto a little pin sticking out of the wall here.
Well, I got you.
You got it?
Whoa!
And stay on the black portion.
Yeah. Boy.
This is just like grease.
Boy, this is amazing. Look at the size of this thing.
This particular section of the wind tunnel is 20 feet in diameter, and it has a name. All portions of the wind tunnel have a use, otherwise they wouldn't exist. So this particular portion is called the settling chamber.
The settling chamber?
Settling chamber.
What settles in here?
Well, basically the air settles out in here. It comes up at a low velocity and at a very high pressure. And this is like talking about storms, actually, because you have high pressures and low pressures within a wind tunnel. So we have the high pressure, low velocity area down here in the 20-foot section. And then as we go up that ramp that we just came down,
Boy, look.
you can see the nozzle or venturi. Okay.
Let's go up there.
Okay. Huell, before we go on with the experiment, what I'd like to do is show you what it takes to make this piece of machinery run. I'd like to show you the fan section and the lower leg.
I mean, the fan section.
Section.
You mean, yeah, that's right. The air has to come from somewhere.
From a fan, and because the tips of the blades are confined by walls, we call it a fan.
I got you.
If it were out in the middle of, just out there without any confinement, then it would be a propeller. And
so wait a minute, is this another part of the wind tunnel, just a floor down?
Correct. This is the lower leg section. It's made completely out of concrete.
Boy, there is the fan.
Houses the motor nacelle and the motor and the fan.
Let's get in there.
All righty. Just watch your step
This
and
is,
get in.
oh boy. This trip just gets better and better.
Just keep getting deeper and deeper.
Now, explain this to us.
Well, this is a big piece of history, actually. This particular area that we're in is the nacelle, which is this portion, the metal portion, and the brownish items that you can see on either side are the propeller blades. And then the motor itself that runs the fan, runs the propellers, is housed within this nacelle. And this particular motor is actually older than the rest of the wind tunnel. This wind tunnel was first cranked up in 1929. However, this motor that runs the wind tunnel came from a World War I prototype submarine motor.
And you're still using the same motor today?
Same motor. Runs beautifully. Hasn't missed a lick.
And back here, we can get a shot of the actual blade itself. Now, how fast do these things get going when they're on full blast?
Well, at maximum velocity, 160 miles an hour in the working section, these blades are turning at about 800 RPM.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute, you're not cranking that thing up, are you?
No, sir. We're just clearing it by hand at
It
this
isn't
point.
going to catch or anything.
No, it won't catch.
Wow. Now, how much noise does this make when it's going?
It's actually fairly noisy. It's low frequency noise, which means it's kind of like my voice in a way, and it just buzzes.
Now, before we go back upstairs, you've brought us one more flight down, because I peeked in here a minute ago and I said, we got to show this to everybody. If there was ever a tribute to the quality of the products that American workmen produced, tell us what we're looking at here. This is all the original stuff.
This is all the original equipment. This equipment was put in here in the late 1920s. It is all part of the wind tunnel system. Some of it pertains to the motor.
Good stuff.
The other parts are there for controls.
And all of this stuff, these big,
Some motor generator
the
set.
big motors. Look at this stuff on both sides.
Yeah.
Here's another one over here.
another one.
This is all 1929
And earlier.
stuff and earlier that still turns
Still
and makes
works.
this wind tunnel.
We're bringing the wind tunnel up to about 200 RPM,
Oh, wait a minute.
and you can hear the roar start.
I hear it.
This is a
Oh, I
quiet
can
roar.
feel it.
You can feel it.
Look at this.
That's a wind of about 48 miles an hour.
So this is a 40 what?
48 mile an hour wind.
48 miles per hour. It's cool.
It's very cool. Wind chill.
And what are you gonna show us now?
Well, what we'll do is we'll get the smoke wand going.
Let's get that thing going.
Alrighty.
Oh boy. Now. Oh, look at
There we
that.
go. You can see the difference between the very low turbulent flow outside the wind tunnel to the fairly laminar flow within the wind tunnel
Let's put
itself.
it down here right by the car. Oh,
Okay.
look at that. See? Boy, you can really look how straight that stream of smoke is coming out of that thing.
So basically what we're going to do is look at what kind of flow path is over, around, or underneath this three-dimensional body.
Can we put it in front of the
We
car?
certainly can. If we
Look
bring
at
it
this,
down,
Louis. Look at this.
if we bring it down really slow, then you can see how the smoke will bend to the shape of the car.
Yeah. Boy, now you just got this going 48 miles an hour.
Yes. Yeah.
I wouldn't even be able to stand here if you really cranked it up.
No, actually, if I were to take it up probably past 100 miles an hour, we'd have to go down and pick you out of the veins, literally.
Boy, this feels good on a hot summer's day.
Oh, it's great. Even when it gets to be very warm in the wind tunnel because of all the power we put into the motor, a little moving wind actually feels cool, and it'll still be 100 degrees here.
Wow.
It's like Palm Springs. Without the sand, I might add.
Now, I have seen pictures of aircraft, model aircraft being tested in here.
Yes, we have some film footage showing a 1934 Lockheed Electra test taking place, and it shows the wind tunnel in operation and the people that were involved in it, and the model airplane being put in. It's actually quite interesting.
So many of the aircraft that were tested in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s here in Southern California were tested first right in this wind tunnel.
Oh yes, and you know, companies didn't use just one wind tunnel all the time, but they did correlate between different wind tunnels. That means they would take the same model from one wind tunnel, take it to another one, and see if the data was the same. They were checking up on us.
Kind of like going to another doctor for advice.
Absolutely, getting a second opinion.
I've also seen footage of the model that was put in here of the bridge from up in Washington.
Oh, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, the very famous Galloping Gertie Bridge. Yes, that test took place at a time after the bridge went down, and they wanted to validate actually what had taken place on that bridge make sure that it was a structure and that sort of things.
Now, you told me you have a rather eclectic diet of what you test in here.
Oh yes, it's wide-ranging. We have anything from aircraft, automobiles, human beings.
Wait a minute, human beings?
Yeah, we have a photograph down here of Bonnie Warner. She was actually set 6th place in the luge in the 1988 Olympics. She was in here prior to do some studies, not so much with the luge because there's very little you can do, but mainly to get a sense of what she could do to reduce drag and maybe do a better job on the luge.
So wait a minute, you put her inside the wind tunnel?
Actually in the same place as you saw the car earlier on. We put her.
So you just strapped her in there?
Well, we mounted her right to her luge to the balance, and then she was allowed to move about however she wanted to on the luge.
And
but
how fast was the wind going?
We ran the wind tunnel up 65 to 85 miles an hour. It would be similar speeds that she would encounter going down the hill.
And I've seen pictures of cyclists in here.
Oh yes, we do have done Olympic cyclists, wide variety of sporting types, from running positions to swimming to it gets very varied.
Well, it's still working. I'm telling you, I can testify firsthand that this thing, you couldn't crank it up any higher, could you?
You certainly could.
And still have me sit here?
I don't know how long you'll sit there. We may have to tie your ankles to the floor.
I think we can get the point across right now.
I think so.
That this wind tunnel, and its name again is?
The GALCIT 10-Foot Wind Tunnel.
The GALCIT 10-Foot Wind Tunnel here at the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena is a fine example of California wind.
It is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for showing.
It was a beautiful day as we headed for our final destination, the Point Reyes National Seashore. 71,000 acres right on the coast, about an hour's drive north of San Francisco. Part of the national park system, the Point Reyes Seashore offers some spectacular scenery. But of course, we weren't just interested in the view, because we were looking for wind. And believe me, we found it. Now we have come up here to this wonderful place with John DeLasso, who is the Chief of Interpretation for the Point Reyes National Seashore. And you know why we're here, right?
I certainly do.
We told you that we were in search of the windiest place in California, and this place right here has it hands down, right?
It really does. This is the windiest point on the whole Pacific coast, actually, as well as the foggiest. But we're here today to talk about the wind, and you came on probably one of the best days. It's certainly not one of the windiest days, but consistently, this is what we have here as far as wind.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't come here to do something on the fog, because there is no fog. But you told us that really you never know from day to day what the weather is going to be like up here.
That's exactly right, but even from hour to hour. And we tell some of our 2.5 million visitors that do come to the Point Reyes National Seashore that you need to dress in layers, and that's really the wisest advice that we can give people, because you can be in one section of the park where it's 75, 85 degrees, and then you may want to come out to the Point Reyes Lighthouse where it's 65 degrees and the winds are blowing at 35 or 40 miles per hour.
Now see, there's no wind at all right now. Not one bit of wind.
No, we're sheltered from that northwesterly wind right here, and as soon as we come around the corner to the observation deck of the Point Reyes Lighthouse, once again we'll pick up that breeze.
Yeah, here comes the wind.
Here it comes.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And it's cold out here, too. I don't have on a jacket.
Well, and the wind, you know, certainly creates that wind chill factor. So that will drop the temperature. And I guess I know a little bit better about the weather here, which is why you see me wearing my jacket. So, yeah, exactly.
Now, tell us what we're seeing down here and why it's so windy at this place on the California coast.
Sure. What we're looking at here is the historic Point Reyes Lighthouse. which was built in 1870. The lens mechanism that's actually on the inside there was hand ground and prepared in Paris, France, and there's 1,032 pieces of hand ground lead crystal in there. This was made by Augustin Fresnel, and Fresnel is worldwide famous for the hand ground crystal and the lenses that he has prepared.
What about the wind? Which is what we're feeling right now.
Yeah.
Why does it come in such gust on this particular point?
Because the Point Reyes headlands jut out from the mainland of the California coastline about 10 miles, what we have here is we're out in the Pacific Ocean, if you will. We're sort of on a permanent boat trip out here. And what the winds want to do is they want to grab onto something and move up. So what they're doing is they're coming up this cliff and this coastline and shooting right up here, which is the main reason we have such strong winds consistently out here.
What are the records for this point?
Well, the record wind speed that's been recorded here is at 133 miles per hour. And just to give you an idea, the hurricane force winds are typically 65 miles per hour for a hurricane. So what you'll find at that one point in time anyway was certainly twice that.
But this point isn't called the windiest point just because of that 133 miles per hour, right?
That's exactly right. No, the reason it's the windiest point in the Pacific coast is the constant wind that we have here, which averages sometimes 40 plus miles per hour. And it's not at all uncommon to find 60 mile per hour winds here.
Well, now, right now, see, I was kind of hoping for this gale force. I was hoping that we were just going to be fighting against the wind when we came up here. It was going to be something dramatic.
I invite you to walk back just 5 feet in this direction, and you will feel that wind again.
Really?
It's
right
here.
Over here?
It's here.
Gosh, you're right.
And I think
just from there to here.
Your shirt is testimony of it. You can see, and I mean, obviously we can feel it. You can see the fencing here as it's blowing too. So we were just a little bit
What would
sheltered.
make the difference between being over there and being here?
We were just slightly sheltered from the direction of the wind, moving back off of the edge of this cliff.
Look, there's the rock right there. That was the rock that was just sheltering us from the wind.
And if you look down this cliff right here, what the wind is doing is it's just forcing itself right up this cliff.
Wow. Look at this. That is quite a dramatic drop-off down there, too.
It really is. We're about 600 feet above the ocean floor, the ocean ceiling right here.
Now we're getting what I was hoping for.
It's here. You know it, and you know it's here.
The windiest place, not only in California, but on the entire Pacific coast, Point Reyes.
That's it.
We're here. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Howser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure. If you'd like to see it again or share it with your family or friends, all you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.